Hi, my name's Renata. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is dedicated to intercultural communication, expat life, job search across cultures, and foreign language learning. As an English language teacher, I have published a couple of videos about TOEFL and IELTS recently because lots of my clients need to take these tests. We're in 2025 as I'm recording this video, and as of January 2026, there will be a new version of the TOEFL. So if you're thinking of taking the TOEFL and what's going to be different in 2026, this is exactly what I've been making videos about. So check out my channel for a couple of other videos. There's one that is a comparison between TOEFL and IELTS, and another one that is a general overview of the new TOEFL test as of January 2026. But I was also asked if I could make some individual videos on the specific four parts of TOEFL so that you can practice in preparation of what the new TOEFL is going to look like as of next year. So I've already published a video about the new TOEFL reading, the new TOEFL listening, and this video is about the new TOEFL writing. And of course, there will be one more video about the new TOEFL speaking. But this one is specifically about the new TOEFL writing. So how does it work? What does it look like? As always, I'm going to share my slides with you to show you what the new upcoming test, specifically the writing part, is going to look like. You can find all this information here on the ETS website, ets.org/TOEFL, or more specifically, this long link here where you can download the entire overview, and there are sample tests that you can download. One of them is sample test or practice test 1. That's the long link here, and that's where I've taken the examples from. So this is the test available. There are others as well. As of today, you can download up to 4 practice tests. And here's some general information about reading, listening, writing, and speaking. But today we're going to specifically look at writing. If you're familiar with the TOEFL as of today, you will notice that build a sentence is completely new, so is write an email. The only one you will be familiar with is write an academic discussion, which ETS has used since 2023. That was the last big change. So if you are familiar with the TOEFL as it is today in 2025, you will know write for an academic discussion. But build a sentence and write an email is completely new, and I'll introduce it to you with a couple of examples. So let's start with part 1, build a sentence. And remember, this is a progressive test that develops depending on what you do. So build a sentence kind of shows the system how well you're getting on with part 1. And depending on that, it's an adaptive system. It will then offer you an adequate version for part 2 and part 3. So what does it look like? Build a sentence. You may see something like that. It says, I heard Anna got a promotion. Then we have blank, 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 blank. She will be blank, blank, and it's a question. So you have to make a question. So whenever in this video you would like some time to try and prepare your answer, just press pause, pause the video until you have your answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Okay, so you want to think about this, press pause. And if you're ready to continue, here is the answer. So the correct sentence is, do you know if she will be moving to a different department? So what you have to do, you have to put the elements in the right order. A different department is one element. If is one element. So an element could be just one word or 2 or 3 or 4 words. Each element fits into one blank. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blanks, and you have 6 elements, so they fit perfectly. However, having said that, There are cases where you have six blanks and seven answers. I'll show you one of those later. And then you have to decide which of the elements you should not use or which we don't need. But here we have six and six, so we know we have to use them all. Here's another example. We're planning a trip to the mountains next weekend. Blank, blank, tell me, blank, 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 and it's a question. If you'd like to take some time to put the elements in the right order, press pause now. If you're back, then here comes the answer for you. The correct order of the words or elements is, can you tell me whether the cabins will be available? I have two more examples for you. Doesn't have to be a question, it can be a statement like this. What did Maria ask you about the book you're reading? She, and then we have 7 blank spaces, and we have 7 elements. So they fit perfectly. You just have to make up your mind what goes where, what is the right order of the elements. If you want to take your time, press pause now. Where, as you're back, here is the answer. So the correct order is she wanted to know where she could buy a copy. One more example. We're planning a trip to the mountains next weekend. I used blank, 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 5 blanks, but 6 elements. And this is something that could happen, not all the time, but once in a while. So you have to decide which of those 6 elements you don't need. Well, if you want to think about it and give it a try, press pause now. As you have hit play, I guess you want to know the answer, and the answer is I used the study guide that was provided by the professor. As you can see, we did not need it. And that's an important thing to notice. There's many more. It's not just 4 of them. So as you go through Build a Sentence, part 1 of the new TOEFL writing, there's a whole list of those. It's not just 4. I'm just giving you 4 examples. If you want more, go to the website, click on Practice Test 1, and you'll see the rest of the examples. So this is what Build a Sentence looks like. Depending on how you do, you move on to part 2, write an email. In Write an Email, you'll be presented with a scenario, and you'll be given writing prompts such as these. Describe a situation, make recommendations, ask questions or inquire about information, or write an invitation. Possibly suggest solutions to a problem. In general, you have 7 minutes to write an email based on the information presented. Now, what does it look like? Well, from Practice Test 1 that you can download on the ETS website comes this example. So here's the situation. A new poetry magazine has asked its reader for submissions, and you decided to submit 2 of your poems. However, you had a problem using the online subscription form, and you're not certain that your submissions were received. So here are the writing prompts. Write an email to the editor. Important. They're telling us who the person is we're writing to. The editor of the magazine. So in your email, do the following. So follow the bullet points, do exactly what they're asking you to do. So tell the editor what you like about the new magazine. So if you go straight to the next point, describe the problem, and you did not tell the editor what you like about the new magazine, you will lose points. So make sure you do all the things they ask you to do. So, and then describe the problem and then ask about the status of your submissions. So they're telling you what to do, and you have to write the email. Write as much as you can in complete sentences. So don't use the bullet points, use complete sentences as if you were writing a letter or an email. They even give you an email address and a subject line. So don't miss out on that. Make sure you write a complete email. That means we have an email address, we have a subject line, we need to greet the person, we need to write the text, we need to structure it well, different paragraphs, and we need a salutation at the end. If you want to try this before you see the sample answer, come back to this video once you're done, or maybe try your own answer after the video. But if you keep watching, then you'll see the sample answer. Are you ready to see it? All right, here we go. This is what they published on the ETS website. This is what they call a high-level response. Please pay good attention to that wording. It means it's somebody who wrote this would have gotten a high level of points or a high score. It doesn't mean that this is a perfect answer. It's just a high level response. Don't mistake this as a perfect answer or something ETS wrote as like the editor's perfect version. It's not. I could find a few things in this high-level response that I don't like or I would improve. It's just their example of what somebody could have written and would have gotten a high-level response, a high-level score. So you can study this and have a look. Hi, editor, for example, editor is um, in capital letters as if it were a name. I wouldn't do that. I would probably say, Dear editor of the Sunshine Poetry Magazine. The subject line is not there. The email address is not there. At the end, it says best regards, but the writer didn't write their own name. It's still a high-level response. And there are a couple of things as I read through that I would improve. So if I work with you, for test preparation, what we would do is you'd write your own response and I would discuss it with you and give you feedback on your writing. This is what I do with the students or clients that work with me for test preparation. But this is just an example. If you need more time to read it, just press pause at any time and you can read it. Let's move on to part 3, write for an academic purpose. So, or an academic discussion. This is the one they kept. This is like the second writing task has always been since 2023. So what happens here? What you have to do? Well, you'll be presented with a professor's post describing a topic and asking questions, as well as 2 posts students wrote to respond to the question. What you need to do is you need to write your own response, and you need to structure it in the following way. First, you got to write an introductory sentence. For example, in the world we live in today, so-and-so topic gets more and more attention in press and media. Just an example. Of course, you can write it in your own words, just a very general statement. Then you need to comment on what the other 2 students wrote. Well, in your introductory sentence, you obviously mention the topic, the professor's topic, and kind of his question. You need to reword it, paraphrase it. Don't copy the exact words, paraphrase it, write it in your own words. Also, when you comment on what the other 2 students wrote, you can say, while student so-and-so made a valuable point by saying this and that, I lean more towards the other student's point of view about this and that. So briefly quote what they said. Again, do not copy the exact words, just describe it or summarize it. And after that, you need to present your own opinion. It's important that you have a new idea in addition to what the other 2 students have already said. So you have to come up with something new and then provide some details and examples. And of course, you can start with, in my opinion, from my point of view, or the way how I see it, one of those typical phrases to present your own opinion. You got 10 minutes to write the response, and you have to write at least 100 words. There will be a word count, so you will see how many words you've already written. Now, here's an example which comes from this practice test 1 that ETS has already published. So here's the professor's post. It's about volunteerism. If you need more time to read, you can press pause at any time. And then you see the two comments the two students wrote, Claire and Andrew. And you need to read what they have to say. So Claire says, I think high schools should require volunteer hours. So this is a pro answer. Andrew says, I don't think volunteer hours should be required. That's a con answer. So pro and con. They will have different opinions, and you need to quote them. Not really quote, but refer to them or summarize what they say and which one you think you like and you don't like, and then present your own version of it. If you want some time to write your own answer, well, stop the video, come back when you're ready to see the sample answer, or look at the sample answer now and then start writing your own response if you want to. Again, if you're one of my students, that's exactly what I would practice with you, and I would give you one-on-one feedback on every single one of your writings. So, ready to see the sample answer? Well then, here we go. Once again, it says high level response. It's not a perfect answer, remember? This is what somebody wrote, and it would have gotten the person a high level response. So while I get Andrew's point, so we refer to one student, I think it's da 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 da, and so on. So I don't see any comment on the other student. We don't have any comment about Claire. There's no introductory sentence. So that's why I'm saying it's not a perfect answer. I would probably find a couple of things to improve here, but it is something that would have landed you in the high level category, which is a wide category, by the way. So, but this is the only thing you will ever get from ETS. They say low, medium, or high level response. They only know these three categories whenever they publish a sample response. Like I said, not a perfect response, just a sample response. All right, so that's what the new writing is going to look like. As I said, there are already other videos. This was about writing, and I've already made videos about reading and listening. There will be one more coming up about speaking, and then you have one video for each of the four parts to practice. Here are the links one more time. It's ets.org/TOEFL, or the longer link where you get the overview. If you browse the website, you will get to that long link, the other long link you saw at the beginning of the video, that will get you to the practice tests. Total of 4 practice tests available right now. There's also an interactive one you can do as you are logged into the website. All right. If you need a TOEFL trainer, if you need to work with a coach to prepare for the test or any other test like IELTS, you can find me online by searching for my name, Renate Urban, or my business name, Urban Training and Services. You can visit my website or connect with me on LinkedIn. All right. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video on the new TOEFL for next year, TOEFL writing. And if you want to know more about the other parts, check out other videos that I have on my YouTube channel. And if you like the channel, please subscribe and come back for more. Thank you and have a great day. Goodbye.